I'm Lisa, and I'm the mom half of this duo.
And I'm Shada. I'm Lisa's daughter. And welcome to Two Peas in a Plot, our little corner of the internet where we talk all things books.
We read across genres and love everything from underrated gems to longtime favorites.
And just a quick heads up while we try to avoid spoilers, we do talk about what we liked or didn't. So there might be a few light spoilers along the way just to give you some context.
So if you love stories and want to grow your TBR, hit that subscribe button and join the plot. Hello, everyone. Today's book is a nonfiction, and it really caught my attention when I read the description of it, but it's called No More Tears: The Dark Secrets of Johnson & Johnson by Gardiner Harris, published in 2025. I'm not going to do the book justice of explaining it, so I want to read a little bit about what had captured my attention when I saw the book come out. So one day in 2004, Gardner Harris, a pharmaceutical reporter from the New York Times, was early for a flight and sat down at an airport bar. He struck up a conversation with the woman on the bar stool next to him, who happened to be a drug sales rep for Johnson & Johnson. Her horrific story about unethical sales practices and the devastating impact they'd had on her family fundamentally changed the nature of how Harris would cover the company and the entire pharmaceutical industry for the Times. His subsequent investigations and ongoing research since that very first conversation led to this book, a blistering expose of a trusted American institution and the largest healthcare conglomerate in the world. What caught my attention was I never understood the big deal about the baby powder, which I was always used until probably recently. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand. A couple of years ago, I was looking for it, but I always found the travel size ones. I don't see those anymore, but as soon as I read this book, even before I finished it, I was throwing those travel size baby powders away. I don't know who makes them. And I had some talc powder made from another country, which I had got online and threw that away. So I now have some powder that doesn't have any talc because I don't know, out here where we live, it's hot and that just makes me feel drier. And that's probably too much information. But Shade, I wanted to bring you in. I had some funny, not they're not funny. They're just questions that make you think when you read this book, I think, or after you've read it. So I'm going to go through them. You don't have to go in great detail. But what's one product we always had in our house growing up, like it was just always in the bathroom or kitchen? And it could be the laundry room.
No, but you said, and now I've got the baby powder thing stuck in my head.
hmm
But when I would go stay at Nana's or at the farm with my grandparents, every time I get out of the shower, because they didn't really have AC and
Yeah.
it's hot, I would, I'd get all dry and then I'd put the baby powder on it. It smelled kind of sweet. And that was just part of, and then I remember hearing, when I was a teenager, like, so, so I'm going to age myself a little bit, but like 20 years ago, started hearing how baby powder might be bad and talc powder is bad and all that stuff. So, um, I remember the baby powder, not in our house, although it sounds like it was always there. I just didn't use it. But yeah, I remember the baby powder using it at the farm, like getting out of the
Yeah.
shower and just I don't know. I don't know why it felt so
S-
luxurious.
It just, I don't know. I like the smell and everything. I
Yeah.
never gave it to you kids, but I always used it for me. But I don't remember using it. I might have been told from a pediatrician not to. I don't really remember, but I don't think I used it on you kids.
I don't think you did. No, it
Yeah.
was just I had this like special little bottle at
Yeah.
at
At
Nana's that I
Nana's.
would use. And I think it was like, like kid branded, so it looked extra
Oh,
cute and it was like
mm-hmm.
pink or something and it had little hearts. I don't know exactly what it was. So yeah, I can't think of anything that we ended up phasing out that was a staple in our household, but I definitely, yeah, the baby powder,
Baby powder
definitely.
was big. I never really used the Johnson and Johnson baby shampoo. None of that.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why I didn't. I don't think I liked it for or the smell or something. I don't know what it was. So here's another one. Do you think you'd be good at selling medicine, like walking into a doctor's office and convincing them to use a certain drug?
No, because I hate sales. I hate trying to force a product on people. I'm a huge introvert. So this is kind of a an artificially easy question to answer because I'm such an introvert and because I'm so not a salesperson. I couldn't sell anything to anyone. I mean, I'm an author and I hate pitching my own books. Like it just makes me uncomfortable. But on top of that, I do have some like career adjacent knowledge of the medical industry and just knowing how they operate and having done some research and like course writing. Um, it is a gross field and there are kickbacks and there's like quid pro quo. No, I could not do that. I could not do it just based on like my personality, but also ethically, no, I could not.
I agree. I'm not
Yeah.
a good salesperson. I worked in Macy's years ago before they were on commission, if they ever were, I don't know. But when I worked there, we weren't. And I couldn't work on commission because I want the I'm just there to help you if you need to try it on, you need a different size and ring you up and have a good day.
Oh
Or,
my gosh. This
that's
is
it.
this is totally far afield from what we're talking about, but you reminded me. There was one particular uh Victoria's Secret I went to a few times, and there was a lady there. She was a little bit older. I think her name was Jenny. My God, Jenny was so aggressive. Every time I went in there, Jenny would make a beeline to me and be like, "Let me help you. Let me get." And I don't know if they worked on commission or they got like bonuses or something, but they got something. And Jenny was me and my partner talk about Jenny. Still, like this was like 10 years
Wow.
ago, and he and I still talk about Jenny because she was so persistent. But yeah, I think that commission structure just
I don't
is
like it.
horrible. And I think it also feeds into those like retail, buying underwear is different from pitching to doctors and like embedding yourself in the healthcare industry. But I think it does lead to those really icky business practices because it's not a healthcare game, it's a sales game. And it just, yeah.
Well, just another thought, and this is brought up in the book, and it's explained so much better in the book. But pretend you're a sales rep. You don't have to answer anything. But you go into a doctor's office selling a product that the FDA has approved, but everyone has lied about it. But you're promoting this product that shouldn't be sold to kids. It's really for aging adults in nursing homes. But you think you're doing the right thing because the FDA has approved it and your company is saying it's okay, your pharmaceutical company that you're representing. Anyway, that's just a thought.
Oh yeah, no, that would I would have serious trust issues learning that it wasn't okay.
Hmm.
And also like I think this is a slightly different thing because if everyone knows it's not okay, like behind the smoke screen, that's a different issue. But I know like in the early 20th century, smoking was
Oh, yeah.
promoted as a way to, help your breathing and help clear lungs. And that I don't think was, I mean, there might have been an element of, I'm sure the smoking, like the cigarette industry had their own lobbyists and they were saying, oh
Hmm.
no, our researchers are saying that this is really good for you and all of that. Um, I know that this is one of those very interesting books that's very easy to get on this like slippery slope of conspiracy theories, but I think we do put so much trust in these
Hmm.
institutions to guide us to do the right thing. And then I think you remember the whole Got Milk um
I kind of
campaign
remember
from
that.
like the early 90s. I remember just growing up, oh, you got to drink milk because it'll make your bones strong. I mean, you need calcium, but the way it was pushed at at the American public, that wasn't science. That was the dairy lobby. That, I mean, yes, calcium is good for you and good for your bones, but not to the degree that they were pushing it. And I think like our that food pyramid that was like up in like seventh
Oh,
grade
yeah.
science, that kind of
What I
thing.
grew up with.
Yeah, all of that is, I mean, I don't think it's blatantly wrong, but a lot of that is that hierarchy is based on lobbying groups, successful lobbying groups, not necessarily science-based nutrition. And I mean, you'll only have to look at the American diet versus like, like an East Asian, like the Japanese
Mhm.
diet or something, and see like, oh, well, we're clearly doing something wrong. Oh, well, and I know there's like a difference between like what you should be eating and what people end up eating, um, but yeah, you put all this trust in these institutions, and to a degree, the data does change. The research gets
Mhm.
more sophisticated, our methodology gets more sophisticated. But back to your point, again, like I said, I'm getting very far afield here. To your original point, when people know that it's not right and
Mhm.
they're still doing it anyway, we we need stronger oversight and accountability.
Right.
So,
That's what surprised me about the baby powder, especially. I think I just focused on that because it was first part in the book.
well,
And
and
then
it's
they,
such an iconic thing,
yeah,
right? Like,
it really resonated with me because it's something I used,
yeah.
not so much the other things, but how long they covered it up that this was not good. I don't want to quote that it had asbestos in it, but I heard the word asbestos. I listened to the audio. I tend not to remember as well as if I read the book. And then I finally got the book through the library, but by that time I'm more than halfway through. So I just kept it for the inside description. Well, there was something about, there was a question I had, what's a commercial or ad you still remember word for word? I don't remember word for word, but I remember slogans like you were saying, got milk. I, I go back farther than that and go, where's the beef?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we were talking about I never heard where's the beef. Vincent had to show me where's the
Yeah.
beef, but there's like a whole it was a little old lady, right?
Yeah.
She's so cute.
She's
Yeah.
really cute.
Hmm.
I don't even remember what it was for. What company was it for? Ham? I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah. I'm assuming it's the beef industry, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't remember what it was for, but
That's so
yeah, the
funny.
got milk, um,
Is that what
Lego
the
my Eggo. Oh my God, do
Yes.
you remember that one?
Yes. Is the got milk had the mustache, the milk mustache?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then and there were celebrities involved with that campaign too. Um, I know there were a lot of like toys, of course, that were I'm trying to think. Yeah, I can't think of any of the toys exactly, but there was the Bop It toy. I know that's not like a
Hmm.
food thing, but the
Hmm.
you remember I think I had two. I had one that you held and then one that was like a skipping one that you had around your ankle.
Yes, I
And it would
remember.
tell you you'd have to bop it, twist it, spin it. I don't know. And it was like a little song. I'm sure that thing was super annoying. I can't
Yeah.
believe you got that for me. I would have probably accidentally lost it if I were a parent. Would have been like, oh no, I don't know where that went. Um, but yeah, the got milk. I know there are lots of other ones too.
Yeah. It just escapes me, but the where's the beef was the easiest one, and I think it felt like it was like the first time they'd ever done that I remember. I don't know what year that was in, but it's going to be brief my review because I can't go into too much detail because there's so much medical information, but it does talk about the Tylenol. I want to call murders that this man had he had put, I can't remember what type of poison. He put poison in some Tylenol bottles, and that's where everyone started coming up with the protection against someone being able to do that. And they're really hard to get open, some of the bottles.
Oh yeah, the tamper-proof
Yeah,
stuff.
tamper
That's
proof.
very interesting.
Yeah,
And I think too, like, don't worry about reviewing the book. I feel like
yeah,
the questions that you've brought to this discussion are indicative of the type of just the critical thinking that this book seems to have made you engage with, like, and kind of confront some, well, this is how our system works, and is it the right way to do the system? And,
It was
it's very interesting. I'll
it
have to read this one.
it really is. My description of the book is it was such an eye-opener to me how the system is broken and how many people, including children, were affected due to the many lies and cover-ups that kept happening over the decades, in some cases. And if you or anyone takes medicine, even over the counter or prescription, it's really interesting read. It's not something we can control because you have to take medicine. I take medicine, but it makes you more aware of what you're taking. I mean, I went through my medicine cabinet, but some of the stuff I threw away that was extra strength that's not necessary. And I
Yep.
don't think I need that anymore. But it also makes us aware as a consumer to when you get those, if you do pick up prescription drugs and you take the time and read the effects, is that what I'm thinking of the word? What can happen when you take the drug? That piece of paper you get that's really long and really detailed.
Yeah, I think no, I think that's a really good point. It's like, we can't do anything to change the system individually, uh but it seems like it's putting the not the onus. I don't want to say that because that sounds kind of negative, but it sounds like it's reminding us that we have a responsibility to ourselves as consumers to educate ourselves about the things that we're putting in our bodies, the regulations around what's approved for us to use. So I think, yeah, like you said, reading the drug facts, even dabbling in a bit of researching the industries just to
Yeah,
understand like how these relationships between like drug wholesalers and doctors and pharmacies and pharmaceutical companies. Because again, they're not altruistic companies, they're for-profit companies.
right.
So being aware, doing your due diligence to learn the shape of that landscape and being very aware of the role that you as a consumer play in that and how you're kind of a pawn and a cash cow at the same time. Again, not to get political or
Yeah.
but it is a for-profit industry and it's a very
Hmm.
lucrative industry. So just having that awareness, I think, is really important. So I'm glad you read this because and I will have to tell our listeners, I came in one day because I visit every week.
Right.
And I came in one day and you just were like, this book, no tears, and the baby powder, and and I was like, whoa, you got to slow down. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I'll have to read this one. It's
You
very,
have to
very
read.
interesting. Yeah.
Even if you don't, it's not so much medical. It is to some degree, obviously, but it talks about if you think of politics, but this is medical, and how even the FDA didn't do the right thing.
Yeah. Well,
But
it's
also,
it all go I feel like it all goes back to lobbyist groups.
yeah.
It's like who has the most money and who has the most to lose if they don't like politically, if they don't support the lobby that's supporting them,
Hmm.
they get that funding pulled and then they don't win their reelection. I see the whole thing. It's so tangled and yeah, I can
It's
I can
it's
see
a
that.
really good read. I wanted to go in the chapter what they talked about besides the baby powder. Talked about Tylenol, Procrit, Risperdal, I think it's called, Duragesic, medical devices, Ortho Evra birth control patch, ProLift vaginal mesh, and COVID. And do you remember when we had to get our COVID shots? I there was Pfizer, Moderna, and then I don't know, is it under Johnson and Johnson the
I
one
think it was.
shot? Okay,
Yeah.
was not good. It
Oh, I do remember kind of hearing it was like you get kind of what you get at the place where you sign up, but a lot
right.
of people were kind of I do remember hearing like maybe don't go Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah.
Go do the I think I got the Moderna.
I got the
And it is
Moderna.
a series of two.
I think it was in our area. There was, when you first got the first shot, when COVID first hit, we had to go through like a football parking lot.
Oh
And you
yeah,
go
we
through
did that
different
too.
areas and you stick out your arm out of the car.
Yeah, and they poke you
Yes.
through the window.
And I had so much time off work to go do that, two
Yeah.
hours, because we were working at home then. It was very interesting, but I really wanted the one shot. But anyway,
Well,
I
aren't you
thought that
glad now that you didn't get that one?
I am so glad. But it is an interesting read. It's worth knowing how the system works, like the sales representatives. Initially, they would hire pharmacists from college who graduated as pharmacists, but I think Johnson Johnson, and I'm only focusing on them because the book focuses on that company. They started hiring anyone who was more like an extrovert or, they were not pharmacists. So they didn't always know the ins and outs, I think, of the medical field and the drugs that they were encouraging the doctors to try in their
Right.
offices. But yeah, it was a really interesting read. I'm really glad I read it, but I should say read, but I listened to it on I checked it out on the library. So if you're willing to do that, I think it's a really, and I just made it a little bit faster. It's probably why I didn't remember a lot because I wanted it to talk a little faster than it was talking, just
I do
because
that
it was a
too.
long book.
I do that with podcasts and things.
Yeah.
I'll put it on like 1.5 speed so I
Mm-hmm.
can get like I only do that with like nonfiction and like informational stuff, which
Yeah.
obviously this is
Mm-hmm.
nonfiction, informational. But yeah, I'm like, I want the knowledge. I don't necessarily want to bask in the prose. I just want
Right.
the like, give me the knowledge.
It was really good. I think they kind of lost me at Procrit and those, but the Tylenol and the baby powder really hit home. And then I got because the other stuff is somewhat as you get older. It's kind of in between, and then as you get older, and I'm past certain points, or they don't affect me. But then the COVID at the towards the end, it was like, oh yeah, I remember that now. And I guess it wasn't effective, and their trials. I don't know. It's just all I can say. It was a very interesting read, and I highly recommend it. That is again, No More Tears: The Dark Secrets of Johnson and Johnson by Gardner Harris, and his name is spelled Gardiner. His first name. Really interesting. I don't know if you have any more last thoughts on the book.
I have one question for you, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe the book probably didn't address this, but um, did they ever identify the the corporate person that he was talking to in the airport? Did they talk about that at all?
She says in the book, she was funny. I don't know that I remember word for word, but she basically said he kept giving her his card, like, I want to call you later, because she had to leave for her flight. And she goes, no, I'm never going to tell you anything because this is about my nephew. I'm a little bit tipsy and I'm never going to talk to you about it.
Wow.
And I don't know if he tried to find her and she wasn't in the sales rep. I don't know that anymore. But also the drug that I think affected her family for her nephew was this drug that they gave kids, and I forget how it affected other, where it was really supposed to be given to. They were, it was giving boys breasts that would never go away.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
they would gain weight too. So this one family, chose to do this drug and they thought, oh, I can work on the weight. But he got worse and worse mentally because he was growing breasts and his body was changing. And you can't get rid of that ever
Wow.
unless you have a mastectomy, I believe, is what I remember. So she wasn't going to, divulge any information on her family. But yeah, it was interesting. an eye opener for me. And it shouldn't have taken me this long on the baby powder, but it did because I didn't want to give it up. But I found other things.
Oh, that's good.
Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks for being here and talking books with us.
And if you love stories and want to grow your TBR, hit that subscribe button and join the plot with us. And we'll see you in the next chapter. Bye, y'all.
Bye.